Hello, I'm Dr. Maury Markman from City of Hope. And in the last segment of Minutes with Markman, I briefly highlighted and emphasized, as I do, I think appropriately, the remarkable success and increasing influence of precision cancer medicine within essentially the entire spectrum of oncology, from prevention through multiple dimensions of treatment. But I ended that segment with a word of caution regarding two very specific issues related to this ongoing revolution in management that, in my opinion, require much more extensive and open discussion. The first topic to be highlighted here, and I must add all too briefly, is the at times truly palpable conflict between this major focus, research and clinical care, on the biological and pathological effects of molecular abnormalities within the tumor or germline of an individual, either with or at risk of developing cancer, versus, let me emphasize, versus an alternative, far more global public health perspective on reducing the burden of malignant disease. This latter approach, of course, surely highlighted by the decades-long and increasingly successful efforts to reduce cigarette smoking, tobacco use, and more recently, to encourage throughout this country and the world HPV vaccinations. This is not based on precision at an individual patient population level to in fact impact cancer. Let me emphasize that, in my opinion, this is not in any way an abstract concern, as society surely needs to prioritize and allocate what are increasingly precious resources for research funding, as well as decisions that must be made at the federal, state, and even local levels to a variety of public health strategies, including both prevention and early detection. I'd like to consider for a moment a commentary in a recently published book entitled Tyranny of the Gene, Personalized Medicine and Its Threat to Public Health. And there is this very powerful quote. It goes, "Powerful financial, political, technological, and scientific forces that are driving this embrace of personalized medicine and promoting the idea of medicine as something genetic, while simultaneously impeding the study of environmental determinants of wellness and disease. Genes have become far easier to study than environments," end of quote. Regardless of one's views on the relevance of cancer medicines we currently practice, the focus on precision medicine strategies, it is difficult to dispute the general conclusions of the author. The specifics, the wording that has been chosen, one might challenge, but the conclusions that there is this potential conflict and that we've got to put more focus or an increasing focus on population-based strategies in the absence of the financial, technological, political support is clear. The bottom line, in my opinion, in this all too brief summary of it, is to state that there should be no irreconcilable conflict between the goals of molecular-based and population-based approaches to cancer control. There should be no irreconcilable differences. We should be working, all of us, together on both very different strategies. However, again, in my opinion, major efforts both within and outside the oncology communities must continue to ensure that this general sentiment of no irreconcilable differences is in fact reality.